Hey guys, so welcome to my channel. I'm Monica. This is my first YouTube video, or at least the first one where I'm kind of talking or explaining something on camera. But for today's video, I will be doing something that I'm asked a lot by my Instagram followers. So a lot of you guys message me, DM me, all of that about how I edit my photos, specifically things like how do I get my background so white, how I edit people out, and stuff like that. So in today's video, I will be going through all those tips and tricks, as well as just how I edit like filters and whatnot in my day-to-day. So if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, I will have my details right over here on the screen, as well as my feed right here. So the way I edit actually changes, I'd say, like every 6 months, but I guess kind of my little tips and tricks are things I use often. So without further ado, let's get started. So I think it's to start, I'll be doing it on my phone with you guys and we can kind of go through the motions together. So I think I'm going to start by how I edit people out of photos. And the way that I kind of do that, I use 3 different apps. So the first would be Facetune and Snapseed. Those two kind of go hand in hand, I would say, for like easier edits. You know, whether you're editing people out like a plainer background like the beach or like a sign on like a solid wall, like I would use those two. I'll start with Snapseed and I'll show you guys using this one photo that I shot in Lisbon when I went there a couple months ago, and actually posted it with the sign in it, but I thought this would be a good photo to show you guys how I edit like things in the background out, especially of like a plain background such as this. You just open Google Snapseed. Snapseed can be used for so many things, so I'll come back to this app later, so make sure you guys get that. Alright, so here's the photo. There is no filter on it or anything. And so what I do is I go to tools and I go to the healing brush. So then I just zoom in. I'm just trying to get rid of the sign right here. So what I do is I just go over it with the healing brush. And as you can see, it's already blending into the background. However, when you get like close to edges like my hat or something, that's when it gets all funky. So I would just keep going over it until you kind of get a smoother background, and then I would go over any other shadows or little discoloration that you can see. And then after that, it's pretty much set, I would say. You can also go in with tones later on in Facetune to kind of make sure it's the same color, or you can even smooth it and kind of blend it all together. But yeah, so that's how I use Snapseed, and that's how I get rid of things in the background when it's pretty easy like that. So then I'll just save it. Okay, then the next app that I use to edit people out is Facetune. I use it for like the beach and whatnot when there are people in the background of my beach photos. Things like that when it's a little easier, but not as super easy as like a plain background. Okay, so I'm gonna take this photo of me at the beach. I posted this a few months ago. Alright, so this is already filtered and all of that, but you can see that there are these people in the background, and even this rock that I, just slight imperfections, really not a big deal, but I think it does kind of overall just give the photo a more like professional look. Okay, so the one tool that I use the most is the patch tool. And so the patch tool, you basically just click it and it'll give you these 2 circles. It basically takes part of the photo and pastes it in a different part of the photo. So in this case, I would be taking a part of the ocean which doesn't have people in it and pasting it over the people. And the thing about oceans, it's all like different colors, so it all kind of blends together no matter what, so it's super easy to do this. So let me do that for you again. So I'll just put the pasting over the people, and then take a part of the ocean and put it over there. You zoom out and it's gone. And then I'll do the same thing for the rock. A lot of times I like to line up the shadows and the lines. And the nice thing about the patch feature is you can rotate it. So I can rotate it just so it lines up perfectly with the rock. So you can see nothing is in the background and it's all set and done. So now I'll just save that to my camera roll. Also, if I am not making sense, I'm so sorry. It is so hard to edit and talk at the same time. I'm so not used to this, so please bear with me. Okay, and the last app that I use to edit people out of my backgrounds is Image Blender. Okay, this is the most complex app I would say, but it also can do the most. I use it in cases where like I'm in a more complicated background, like it's a city in the background, or just basically anything that's not super easy that I can't use a patch tool for. But the key to this is to have 2 images. So one is the actual image you want to post, and you're like, oh, great, I like fire, stunning, whatever. but there's someone in the background of it, or there's something like a car, a person, anything. And the key is to have another photo of you in the like relatively the same position, same background, same everything, but no one's in that exact same spot that the person was in, if that makes sense. It'll make sense once I show you guys. But yeah, let's get started. So in this case, I'm going to use another 2 photos I took in Lisbon, and this is the photo I wanted to post, and then this is the photo that I'm going to use, because as you can see, there were 2 people in the back of this photo, and then this photo is, there's no one in that spot. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the Image Blender app, and then you want the photo that you want to post to be the background. So in this case, I'm going to choose one with the people in the background, and then on the right hand side, you're going to post the one you're going to overlay, and that's going to be the one with no one in this spot. All right, and then from there, you are going to want to arrange. You're going to click the arrange, which is the 4 arrows, and you're going to want to line up that specific part of the photo. So as you can see the people in that corner, and you want to line it up. So for me, the things I'm looking at is you can see the 2V light details, and you can also see like the edge of the car, things like that. So those are the kind of things I'd like to line up. And since these were taken so close to each other, it's pretty easy to line things up. But if it's not, like say it was taken maybe like 5 shots later and you're a photographer, may have moved back, move forward, anything like that, you can also zoom out or zoom in, rotate, anything like that to kind of help. But in this case, it's pretty easy. And then once you have it all arranged, you'll want to click the mask button. So that's the pencil. And from there, you're going to want to make sure that the pencil is pointing up. And so that means it's going to erase the overlay. And so what I like to do is I like to erase the whole thing. So the reason I'm doing that is because I like to be specific and draw in what I need to do. I don't like to overlay the whole photo, it's just that spot. So then from there, I'm going to click the pencil again to make it draw. And basically going to paint that background back over the spot where the people are in. And then you can see that you can adjust the opacity of the tool, so it can be either hard or feathery, and I like to do it hard on the main areas, then once I get to the borders I kind of feather it out just so it blends in. So as you can see, my arrangement's a little bit off, so after I do that, I like to kind of arrange it again and kind of line it up to where it matches the edge of the car and things like that, and then I like to play back and forth, like feathering the edges and all of that. So as you can see, it's a kind of a long process. You can see me going back and forth between the tools, but the end result is really great. So as you can see right here, I'll slide back and forth between the 2, and you can see that it almost is like a flawless edit. Super easy, you don't need Photoshop, you can do it right here on your phone. So yeah, that's that app. Again, the 3 apps that I use to edit people out are Snapseed, Facetune, and Image Blender. I'll link them all below. Okay, next I'm going to take you guys through how I just edit all my photos on a daily basis. I'm going to show you guys kind of the full process that I do, but honestly a lot of the times I get lazy and I just edit it on the Tezza app and then I just post it because I'm just that lazy. But I'm going to show you guys like what I do, you know, if it's like a more difficult photo or just I feel like putting more effort into it. Okay, so I'm going to use another photo I took in Lisbon. I would use the ones I took in LA, but my phone crashed so I lost all of them. Okay, so the first thing I do is I upload it into Lightroom. So here it is in Lightroom, as you can see. And I kind of just like to do the kind of preliminary edits on here just because I think that Lightroom's basic edits are the best. Okay, so you can see I just straighten the photo. I'm going to bring up the lights a little bit. I like to bring up the contrast. The highlights, so I have a love-hate relationship with highlights. If I kind of turn them up, it takes away from the detail, but it makes them more white. But if I turn them down, it's more detail. So in this case, I'm going to keep them down so you can see the details of the building in the back, and I'll show you guys how I whiten it later. So then, you know, I just kind of adjust shadows, whatever, but like, looks great. It's a great photo. Kaylin did an amazing job. One of the main tools I use is this color tools. And so what I like to do a lot is take the yellows out of the photos. You can kind of see already that it kind of makes the background really nice and white. But in this case, it kind of makes my shoes less yellow. So I'm going to kind of keep them there. But a lot of the times what I do is take the yellows out. In this case, the sky is blue, but I want to make it a little bit bluer. So what I do is I go to the blue, and I like to turn the saturation up and luminance down. So luminance makes it less bright, so it's like the colors kind of pop more. And I like to like make it a little bit more turquoise. So yeah. And then to make your skin look a little tanner, what I like to do is go to the oranges, and I like to turn the saturation up and the luminance down. Obviously, like, that's super drastic, but like, you know, you can kind of tell already that it kind of have that effect. This photo is pretty easy, so that's kind of all I do in that area. Just I save. And then the app that I've been using a lot recently is the Tezza app. I used to use VSCO all the time, but just recently I've switched because the filters on the Tezza app are amazing. But yeah, let me show you. So I'll upload it to the Tezza app, and you can see there's all these different filters, and they all just make the photo look really great. So in this case, I'm going to use Glow. The filters that I use the most are Vintage, Glow, Yum, and Indo, I believe. Yeah, those are like the 4 I kind of play around with. In this case, I'm going to use Glow just because I like the way they make the oranges, and it kind of mutes it. But as you can see, it's a little too bright, so I turn the filter down just a little bit. I think I need to bring the details in, so I just turn the highlights down, saturation up just a little bit. Anyway, so I just kind of play around until I like what I see. And the Tezza app actually just added HSL, which is, again, like the way you adjust specific colors in the photo, so I can do the same thing, but I just think Lightroom's is better. Yeah, so this is kind of like what I do. I just play around with it. I like to, a lot of times I put the exposure up, highlights down, shadows up. I like to turn the contrast up, saturation up, and I like to add a little bit grain at the end. And of course to sharpen it, just so that it makes the photo look a little bit better quality. Okay, then I'm going to save that. So to me the photo looks like the houses could still be a little more whiter, because I just on my feed I like to incorporate a lot of white. So what I do is I go back into Snapseed and I import the photo, and what I use is the selective tool. So you see how the houses kind of have a tint of blue right here? So I don't want that. I want them to all look pretty white. So what I do is I go in with the selective tool and I click the plus button to add a little marking, and I select everything like a white area with the houses, and what I do is I turn the saturation all the way down and I turn the brightness up, and not to where it's too bright, but just basically I'll do that throughout the entire photo, just to kind of brighten it up a little bit without making it look unnatural. And I can make the sky a little bit more blue. And then I look a little bit darker, so I'm going to select myself and make myself a little brighter. And then maybe a little more saturation. And then my shoes actually are not as yellow as they originally were, so I'm going to go in with this tool also and just select the yellows on my feet and make them more saturated so that they're the original yellow that they are. Do the same thing for this one. And then the Instagram crop is 4x5, so what I like to finish it off doing is I just click crop, and then I do a 4x5. And just so I can see what it looks like, I like to kind of just decide. So here's my crop, export it, save a copy, and then from there I upload it. So after I save, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll open UNUM, which is kind of the planning tool that I use. And I mean, I took that photo way before, so this is kind of all the photos that I haven't posted yet and I like to play around with. So I'll just upload that into my UNUM and kind of just move it around and figure out where it goes best. And then from there, I'll just save it, figure out the caption, then when it's time to post, I will post it. Thank you so much for watching my first video. I'm really excited to finally admit to YouTube after so long. I've been trying to, get myself to do it, but finally got around to making it. So I will try to post as much as I can in the near future, now that I kind of got the hang of it. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you guys liked what you saw, make sure to subscribe and let me know what you think down below. Thanks for watching.